welcome back to the Veterans Radio Show. My name is Shelly Harrison. I'm your host. We want to wish you a happy Friday. Today's Friday, and we have a very special birthday that we want to mention. We have one of our very own, Chuck Miller, he's turning 96 today, and he's one of our directors out in North County, San Diego, and he is a World War II veteran. So Chuck, we want to wish you a very happy birthday today, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend. And back to the show. So again, I'm Shelly Harrison. I'm your host. And on the Veterans Radio Show, we talk with heroes in action, people all over the country doing wonderful work for our military and just organizations that are doing great work for the spouses, families of veterans. So we appreciate you being here today. We want you to stay for the full episode because we have two exciting guests today, and subscribe to our YouTube channel too, because we definitely want to have you see all the wonderful shows that we bring. And if you have a question live, please ask us because we'll definitely try and get it answered for you. I want to thank our Veterans Chamber team. We have our executive director, Joseph Molina, and he will occasionally come on screen. Today, he won't be with us, but we want to give him a shout out. And I want to thank my co-host too, who is Dolly Rivera. You'll see Dolly here too, interviewing some amazing people. And our magician and producer behind the scenes, Jimmy Odong. So thank you so much to our team. We're growing and we have a lot of, great things happening with our Veterans Chamber. So first, I want to, thank our audience, number one, for being here. Thank you for being live with us. And again, ask questions, subscribe, and be part of our conversation. I want to introduce our first guest, who is Melissa Tu. And she is actually an executive assistant and donor relations coordinator with the Balance Veterans Network. And the Balance Veterans Network, that's a little bit of a tongue twister, offers unconventional healing for conventional forces. They provide a secure and private community for veterans and their families to share their healing journeys safely. They also offer educational resources in various forms for veterans seeking alternative therapy options. And she's also she was in the military. She served 8 years, and we're going to hear a little bit more about her. She was in the Navy for 8 years. And Melissa, welcome to the Veterans Radio Show.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. And you're coming to us from Texas. So how's the weather out there in Texas today?
It was a little stormy, so it's warm and humid outside today.
Oh, that's right. I remember that humidity. I've been to a couple of different places in Texas. Well, we're glad you're here today, and we want to hear all about your organization. We have some questions that we'll be asking, and I look forward to, hearing more. If we could start by having you tell us a little bit about who you are and your role with your organization.
Sure. So I am the wife of an active duty sailor and a mom of two. That's pretty much me in a nutshell. Most of my identity falls within being a wife and a mom and just keeping our family happy and safe and moving forward. And within Balance Veterans Network, I started off as a volunteer. I just had a strong desire after getting out of the military to be part of an effective community. So I joined Balance Veterans as a volunteer, and here we are today, still going strong.
Oh, well, we want to definitely, number one, first and foremost, we want to thank you for, just for your service and serving, and we salute you. And secondly, it's Women's History Month. So, I want to cheer you on and thank you for, being a woman, getting out there and volunteering and being a mom and having two kids. It's a lot of work and a lot of balancing, right?
Yes, everything's
Most definitely. Well, how is Balance Veterans Network different from other veteran nonprofit organizations? If you can start by kind of sharing that.
Sure. So I think our tagline says it all, but deserves a little bit of time to be broken down. Unconventional healing for conventional forces.
Yeah.
Many, many, many veteran nonprofits serve combat related injured veterans or special operators. And
Yeah.
that is very justifiable and necessary. That is a huge need that needs to be filled. But we believe at Balanced Veterans Network that there are conventional force veterans who maybe don't have a combat injury or were not special operators, but
Yeah.
they too walked away from their service wounded, and they deserve
Mhm.
a space, and they deserve to be
Absolutely.
prioritized. And so we
Yeah.
are quite different from many veteran nonprofits in that um, we open our arms wide to any veteran, to
Yeah.
include dishonorably discharged veterans.
Gosh. And this is all over the country, correct? Anybody who serves, so they don't just have to be in Texas.
Exactly. We
Yeah.
are a national nonprofit that serves all United States veterans.
Oh, well, gosh, that is fantastic. And, we definitely want to make sure that our audience knows that this is available, for our veterans, the military, and, anybody that really needs the resource. I mean, it sounds wonderful what your organization does, and we're going to learn more too. So how can people get involved in the BVN mission?
Sure. So the easiest way is to go to our website, balancedveterans.org, and contact us through the various forms that are available on the website. We're run by a small team of volunteers, and we monitor those contact pages, and we are excited to help put talents to work within the network. We serve not only veterans, but their families as well. We feel that spouses and children are impacted by service. And so, very often, we'll find that spouses want to get involved to help, but then also may
Yeah.
want to utilize services as well. So, the best way to get involved is just to reach out. We want to hear your story, learn about your talents, and find the best way to get you plugged into helping.
Oh, and what do you love most about the work that you do with the organization? Because you seem very passionate about this, and I love the mission and what your organization stands for. But what do you love most about this work, Melissa?
I love seeing transformation happen real time for veterans.
Mm.
I love working alongside men and women that I served with, but I didn't serve with. It's instant camaraderie. And
Oh,
then watching healing journeys begin, and watching each leader within the organization, all the way down to new members, just
yeah.
walk out their healing journeys and get better and better every day together.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier, you're married, you have two children, you're, working in this organization. How do you balance things, knowing that you're a busy mom and, you've got, this wonderful opportunity, with BVM, and what do you think is, keeping you going with the organization?
Sure. So finding balance in my own life is probably my biggest struggle. So setting boundaries and compartmentalizing time
Mhm.
for the different priorities that I have in life is the best way that I can find balance, and try to make sure that everyone gets what they need from me, but that I also prioritize time for myself. I mean, that's massive to having, a good mental health balance, is
Yeah.
to give myself self-care. And what I utilize the most are the resources, to be perfectly honest, that we provide on the network.
Oh,
The
yeah.
meditations,
Oh gosh, I love meditation.
yes, we
Yeah.
have fantastic meditation
Oh, how can
providers.
people find that? How can people find that? Just on the website? The
Sure.
meditation?
Yeah, so you go to
Yeah.
our website, you join the network, and you've got instant access to yoga,
Oh,
meditation, functional fitness, breathing, horticulture. If it's an alternative therapy that's helped someone, you can almost bet that we've got a
oh
resource
my
for it.
gosh. And now is it just for veterans then, right? Or can anybody
No. So it's for veterans and their families. So we
veterans and
do
their
have
families?
a partitioned portion of the network that is exclusively for veterans.
Oh,
But we also offer all of our resources to
mhm.
spouses and children as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, great resources, especially just to be able to click a button and get, to where they wanna be.
It
Most
can very
definitely.
often be overwhelming when you start to seek
Yeah.
healing and you say, I've heard yoga can help. And then you Google yoga and you're so overwhelmed and frustrated that you quit before you start. So we really aim to work hard and curate a resource library that's simple and easy to follow.
Oh, that is just marvelous that, that your organization offers that and all the other, benefits that come along with that for the family, for the, like you said, for the kids too. Um, are alternative therapies really effective or just snake oil?
So there is so much resources, so much research and resources that have proven that complementary therapies or alternative therapies are highly effective. A lot of these research projects have actually been funded by the VA itself, and they're starting to refer patients out for different types of meditation, yoga, all kinds of alternative therapies. There's also so much research that shows that plant medicine is highly effective for treating very common veteran symptoms.
Yeah.
But I would say for me, you can tell me that research has proven it's effective all day, but I'm not going to believe it until I see it.
Mm,
And seeing
yeah.
it in my own life and in the life of people that I love,
Yeah.
um, has shown to me that it's not just snake oil.
Mm,
The breath is a massive part of our life. And so when you can learn to regulate your breath and your nervous system, you just unlock a world of possibilities for healing.
wow. And as far as, a story, if you can think of, just a quick little story of transformation that you have seen or been involved with in, in the work that you do, do you have something that you can share with us? And you don't have to mention their name, just, maybe their rank or, what part of the service they were in and just a story that could inspire our audience.
Sure, absolutely. So, a very well known story, and I know that he would be totally fine with me sharing it. Our
Yeah.
founder and president, Ron Millward, was discharged from the Air Force and
Mm.
immediately given a variety of pharmaceuticals from the Air Force or from the VA to
Yeah.
treat physical and mental ailments. He
Mm.
very quickly spiraled into a deep, dark depression, which was untreated.
Mm.
He became suicidal. He became
Wow.
hopeless. He was at the lowest of lows, which is an all too familiar story for veterans. It is highly
Mm.
relatable because many of us have been there. He was given a hand up and he started to do some research and he was at the highest weight he'd ever been. He was in an incredible amount of pain and he felt totally hopeless. And now he is walking out his wellness journey, incredibly fit, incredibly happy, engaged to a
Oh.
beautiful woman, and
Oh.
helping others to
Yeah.
become happier and healthier and to find some hope. So I think a story like that really illustrates that you just if you don't give up once you get to that bottom lowest of the low, which so many veterans have been in, um,
Yeah.
just take one more step and it might be that next step that really can unlock your healing and hope.
Yeah. And just give that second wind of, hope and direction.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a beautiful story. And is this what started the organization? Oh, okay.
It's exactly
Yeah.
what started the
Yeah.
organization was that he realized he wasn't the only one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for sharing that story. And, again, we want to thank you for your service, Melissa. I know you spent 8 years in the Navy, and we know that, you worked hard, you were persistent, determined, and you did a great job today on the show. And we want to thank you, just for all the work that you're doing and supporting our veterans. And we are going to be bringing in our next guest, but I want to find out, is there anything that you want to share? Also find out, how people can reach you. Maybe you can mention that, but if there's something that, that we can help you with.
Sure. So we would love to connect with anyone who's interested in learning more or joining the network or supporting the network, again, you can go to our website, balanceveterans.org. You can find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So we'd love to hear from you from any of those channels, and team up to learn more about each other.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like a great organization. I've already connected on all those social media links too. So
Yes.
I look forward to hearing more. Well, Melissa, thank you so much. And again, happy Women's History Month, being a mom and a wife and doing the work that you're doing. And we will, we'll definitely have you on another time and see how things are progressing for you. So thank you for being on the show.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. All right. So you're watching the Veterans Radio Show. My name is Shelly Harrison. I'm your host. We just finished talking with Melissa, too, who is a Navy veteran. She served 8 years. And now we're going to meet our next guest. And our next guest is also a former, he was actually in the military, too. So we'll hear a little bit about his story. Dave Weiner is our next guest. And let me tell you a little bit about Dave. He is the CEO of Secure Measures and a veteran, like I mentioned. Dave's company, Secure Measures, provides expert safety and crisis intervention training and education solutions to public safety and private sector organizations, and serving 8 years in the Air Force. And he's just a really nice guy. And in fact, he's said he's spoken in front of large groups of people before. So this is not his first rodeo, but I'd like to welcome Dave on the show. Hi, Dave.
Hey, thank you for having me. Really great to be here.
Oh, well, it's wonderful to have you. And, just like Melissa, I mean, we definitely appreciate your service and we salute you and thank you to you and your family for, everything that you contributed during your time in the military.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So we're going to get right into this, Dave. And I would love for you to tell a little bit about yourself with our audience and, kind of how you started Secure Measures.
Sure. So in 2019, I spent roughly 27 years in law enforcement and public safety, including my time in the Air Force. I was a military policeman. In 2019, I retired finally from public safety, and I decided that I'd rather use my powers for good rather than evil. And I started my training company, in which we provide crisis intervention, mental health, suicide prevention training to first responders, as well as violence prevention, active threat, those kind of things for public or private sector organizations.
Yeah. Wow. And you started just before COVID, right?
Yes. Yes. And it's been rough.
Yeah, I would imagine, but very needed. Just everything that your organization is doing is fantastic because it's a much needed resource, most definitely. And as far as what types of training, do you offer public safety agencies?
So kind of in line with today's show, we're talking about veterans and military service. So we have two main courses that we deliver to public safety right now, and they both are veteran centered, and teaching our first responders how to interact and connect with veterans in crisis in the community. As everybody on the show probably knows, we lose roughly 20 veterans a day to suicide.
I know.
So our first responders are normally the ones that will connect and interact with our veterans. And if they're not culturally competent, they don't handle it with empathy and compassion, the situation might not turn out in the best way possible. So we really educate our first responders through state certified training. And that training has been very, very well received. We've trained a number of different agencies here in the Los Angeles area and around California, even outside of California.
Yeah, yeah. Now, does your organization get involved at all with homeless vets?
Yeah, we do. We do in the sense that, since, I said I retired from law enforcement, it doesn't really feel like it because of the work I do. I work very, very closely with some very large law enforcement, mental health agencies that have a direct line or are on the front lines dealing with either our veterans who may be struggling with mental health issues or housing issues. Before I retired, I was the regional chief of police for the VA in Long Beach.
Yeah.
So I use my knowledge of VA resources and some of those connections to try to get veterans
Yeah.
housing or counseling or some of the other services they might need.
Yeah. So you're really bridging in that gap that needs, the resources or just the connection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. That is phenomenal. And I guess the question, I'm sure you're very passionate about what you do, but really what is it that you really enjoy the most about the work that you do?
I think what it is, and this may be a bit of a bold statement, but what we're
Mhm.
doing is actually out there saving lives
Yeah.
through training, right? And that's not an overt statement. And if I may, I can share a personal story with you.
Please do.
Something that
Yes.
happened
We love it.
recently. During
Yeah.
our classes, we also have guest speakers, combat veterans, folks that come in and talk about their lived experiences, and in some cases, it'll be folks that may have had negative interactions with law enforcement,
Mm.
and or positive interactions.
Yeah.
But more recently, I had a veteran who came to one of our classes just to see what we were doing, and sat through the class. And about a week or so later, we hopped on a phone call and we were talking. And he said, "How do I get involved? How do I do this? You
Yeah.
have now given me purpose."
Oh,
And that is a really powerful statement in my view,
yeah.
where you have a veteran who wasn't doing as good as they or thriving, I should say, as much as they should be. And now they feel, hey, through what you're doing, I feel like I found some purpose.
Yeah, so
And
he was really led.
that's
Yeah.
that's very humbling when somebody says that to you. But at the same time, I feel that that's the purpose. We want to prevent
Mhm.
any more of our brothers and sisters from taking their lives, and we'll do whatever's
Absolutely.
necessary to make that happen.
Yeah, no, I see. And how can we, we still have some more questions. How can we as a veterans chamber help and support you in your mission?
I think just spreading the word about what we're doing, and
Mhm.
if there are people out there that are interested in connecting with me, definitely connecting them with me. I love that type of stuff. I love having a great robust network, because there's great organizations like Melissa, who was
Yeah.
just on. She has a great organization. That's a
Yeah.
great connection,
Mm.
because once we get veterans post crisis, they're going to need services like Melissa's, and I think that's really, really
Yeah.
important.
Oh,
It's
I
not
love
it's
that.
not
Yeah.
just stopping on a dime, right? There's supportive
Right.
services that go on afterwards.
Exactly, because once our veterans come into, civilian life and try to transition back in, it could be daunting for a lot of them. So, yeah, but, no, I love the work that your organization does. And, let's see, and does your company offer other services besides training?
Yes, we do. We don't focus on these. Our training is really what we do focus on, but we've done security assessments for organizations to make sure that their security may be where they may be having a security issue. They may be dealing with, um, you know, folks experiencing homelessness out in front of
Yeah,
their business place or things like that. So we can help them adjust. We also do program development. Certain organizations are required by, like OSHA, as an example, healthcare. They're required to have comprehensive workplace violence prevention programs. We can help organizations develop those kind of things.
yeah, yeah. And for people that, that are hearing this conversation right now, how can they reach you?
They can either go to our website, at secure-measures.com. They can look at our training calendar for upcoming training events and those kind of things.
Oh.
And we also have a contact form on there. They can just shoot us a message through there. We're very responsive. We normally get back to people very, very quickly.
Oh, that's great. And quick question that I have is, so are the training courses, are they virtual and in person or just in person?
So, so the public safety courses that we have are mostly in person, mainly
Mhm.
because we do scenario-based training at the end of the class
Yeah,
to kind of
that
reinforce some
makes
of the
sense.
concepts. So those are hard to do virtually, but we have some virtual
Yeah.
classes. We can do violence prevention. We do understanding the veteran experience for managers and supervisors, for folks that manage veterans,
Mhm.
and don't really know much about military culture, don't understand the difficulties in transition. We do those virtually. We do webinars and things, and all of those are posted on our
Yeah.
course calendar.
Wow. And so when you think of your organization, we've got all of these resources that are at your fingertips. What do you see next happening for, in this case, for Secure Measures going into maybe the next 2 years?
Well, we're very much interested in taking our trainings nationwide, which we're slowly but surely working on. We've already been to a few places out of state. We've
Mm.
traveled a lot around our own state, but we've been to places like Arizona. We've been to Boston. We've done training out there. So we just want to get the word out about our trainings to our public safety partners,
Mm.
because we know that veterans live in every town USA almost. And the
That's
likelihood that our
true.
public safety folks will come in contact with them is relatively high.
Yeah, yeah. And today we appreciate you being here, Dave, and you've given such great information and resources for our veterans. And I love that you and Melissa can connect. And I know we're going to have to put her events because I just realized that I forgot to ask her about her events. So Melissa, I just want to let you know we'll put those on the notes for the show. But Dave, I would love for you to just kind of share anything that you feel would be beneficial for veterans to think about or to take action on.
Well, I think if you're struggling, if you're having a bad time, you need to raise your
Mhm.
hand and say, "I need help."
Yeah.
You need to get past the pride and some of the other things that go on. There's plenty of resources out there. There are,
I know.
but you have to ask for help, and you have to be willing to receive that help as well.
Mhm.
There are plenty of people out here that care, and they want to
Yeah.
help you. So all you
Yeah.
need to do is say, "I need help," and you'll get it.
Yeah. No, that is fantastic. And are there any other resources, that your organization offers that you can share with us?
Well, through our community partners and our relationships is really the resources that we would be providing to folks.
Mhm.
I'll give one particular one here in the LA area, our Veteran Peer Access Network, run by the LA County Department of Mental Health.
Mhm.
They are our partners. They're veteran peers that will help veterans obtain benefits, housing, counseling, and not only just veterans, but also veteran family members. So they
Mhm.
provide a lot of supportive services for our vets in and around LA County.
Mhm. Wow. Well, we definitely appreciate, just your service, everything that you've done to help and support, our veterans and, to know that you spent 8 years in the military and then you're continuing on, helping veterans. So because you understand and it's something that's vitally needed in our veteran community, just the resources that both you and Melissa offer for, through her organization as well. But we appreciate you being on the show, Dave. And again, how do people reach out to you?
They can reach out to us via our website at secure-measures.com, or they can reach out to me directly at my email, dave@secure-measures.com.
Wonderful. All right. Well, we want to thank you for being on the show, Dave, and we will definitely get the message out. And as far as the weekend, have a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for sharing all of your insight today.
Thank you. I appreciate being on. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. You too. All right. Take care. All right. Well, that's it for our show today. You heard from two amazing people, Melissa too, and also Dave Weiner. And they both have organizations that you absolutely want to share out to our veterans. And just like David said, uh, if veterans need help or support, please just raise your hand and get in touch with either one of them. So again, thank you for being with us today. Subscribe to the Veterans Radio Show and we will catch you next time.